Ladies and gentlemen, let us raise a glass to Original Fire Games for their creation, Circuit Superstars.
This video is brought to you by my awesome sponsors. Make sure to check out the affiliate links in the description below. Thanks again for all the support.
Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Matt, and welcome to Circuit Superstars. Kind of an interesting time to be discussing this game, but I think it's time that we finally have this discussion here. I think that it is officially the end of an era. 5 years after release, I believe that Circuit Superstars is officially now kind of end. It's at its end. It's done. Now, the reason why I bring this up is due to a recent blog post in Original Fire's Discord channel, stating, over the past week or so, we've seen some recent news and screenshots of a brand new game that they're working on that is mainly geared towards a simcade of go-karts, which, in all honesty, I'm very excited for, just the standpoint that not many developers have really discussed, doing many games with go-karts in general, especially in like a more sim environment. The only one that I can really think of is, I want to say that I would be surprised if iRacing didn't have any, but I know I played go-karts in like Project Cars 2, and that was like the last time I really remember a video game discussing or really having go-karts in like a more simulation environment. Regardless, to get to the point, as they're discussing these recent news of this brand new game that they're working on, they had also made mention, due to circumstances outside of our control, Circuit Superstars cannot be updated any longer. And I found that one quite interesting, because I know that with the recent release on Switch, I wonder if it had something to do with like needing to keep an up-to-date developer account with Nintendo, or I honestly have no idea. It could be so many different things. But I was rather saddened to hear that this game is no longer going to be updated. Last time we discussed this game, I made mention that there were the very early screenshots from like 2016, 2017 showed like a French Riviera, Monaco kind of setting, and I am very saddened that we never got anything out of it, considering that we've got a lot of really unique tracks in this game anyway. I think the vision of what this game would eventually become kind of changed around that point in time, where it's like, yeah, like, who would really drive it? And it's like, I would. But regardless, sad times indeed. But at the same time, too, I was actually incredibly excited to hear that we were getting news about a brand new game from Original Fire Games so soon after their very last little update for Circuit Superstars. I mean, it was 2 months ago that I made that Nintendo Switch release, which we're currently playing as we speak. And I honestly figured that after that last update, we would have not heard from them from at minimum 6 months, if not even close to a year. So the fact that it was only 2 months, it's like, it's either their new game is getting very close to like at least a beta test, or they're just beginning the trickling of information that they kind of started with Circuit Superstars, where they've talked about Circuit Superstars years before it ever came out. So I think at this time it's appropriate that we discuss kind of the legacy that Circuit Superstars has left. I mean, from the very, very, very beginning when we first saw this game, it was due to the Top Gear time attack, where Original Fire Games had actually gotten people like Roman Grosjean, Jimmy Broadbent, Arov, Jamie Chadwick, Super GT Steve, and countless more to set their best time around the Top Gear test track, which due to recent news, it sounds like the track itself is going to be demolished pretty quickly here due to making more room for residential housing, which again is an end of era in its own right. So RIP Top Gear test track. But again, more on the topic is originally when you look at this game, it looks very arcadey. But when you get down to the nitty gritty, there's a lot of simulation elements in it that I'm glad that they really tried to go more in that direction. Because with that simulation efforts, really made like the Top Gear time attacks and all that kind of fun stuff really interesting, really unique to see professional racing drivers on a controller nonetheless try it out for themselves. From there, we had the very first versions of the game being released mainly for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox. And from that moment forward is when I lost my mind, because this game brought me countless hours of entertainment, of being able to play it on the Steam Deck 2 when that finally came out. Just like on the go fun. And it's both, depending on your mindset, you can either sit down and just have a really fun casual time, or you can go into those time attacks and those challenges and into like the online environment and into like kind of the higher difficulty Grand Prix and really cut your teeth on getting a really good time. As much as I can talk about the handling model itself and just talk about it for years on end about how awesome it is, the other thing that I've really enjoyed about it too was that they've got the fuel level, the tire wear, and the health. And honestly, I wouldn't add anything more or take away anything from there, because that alone gives kind of the best of both worlds of being able to really fully understand its place in a simcade environment where it's both very casual and very competitive at the same time. And I think it really strides that line very nicely, because the health really tells you if you perform very cleanly and you don't have a whole lot of crashes and whatnot, you'll maintain your top speed. But if you want to be a little bit more rowdy, it just lets you know there are some consequences for it. So even though you can just be bumping off the walls and all the rest of it, there are some consequences, which ultimately, in the pit lane, you can get fixed. Then fuel is fuel and tire wear is tire wear. And it's been fantastic to see just how much it's accomplished with just this game in general. Coming from a very small indie developer that hadn't put out a single game prior to this one, and to see the waves that it's made in the sim racing community, I've loved it ever since release. And yes, we can say that there weren't many updates. I mean, there were technically two, with the Switch release and then the summer patch a year before that for the rest. But over the course of the 5 years that this game's been out, it's been exceptional. So looking forward to the go-kart racing game. Oh man, where do I even start? First of all, it seems like that there's been a lot of updates as far as the character models, where they actually have, like, whenever your car brakes, like, you can see your character slamming on the brake pedal and turning and whatnot, which is really nice. So there does appear that there are some graphical updates there. Just the idea that their catchphrase is every legend has an origin story. I get the feeling that it's mainly going to be, because it is a go-kart racer, and this game has got like all sorts of different types of disciplines of racing. I wonder if the go-kart racing game is going to be more geared towards championships, and maybe even going as far as like modifying your car, seeing what parts work better. Because if it's just Circuit Superstars with go-karts, I can imagine that it would be very quickly, like, you'd lose a lot of interest very quickly, because it's just like, it's just go-karts going around in circles on, you know, dealing with tire wear and fuel and whatnot, which is like, okay, cool, I guess. So I imagine, knowing Original Fire games, that they're going to have a lot of really weird, out there kind of qualities, things that you got to deal with, that is going to be really cool when we finally get to experience. And the other thing that I forgot to mention too when it comes to Circuit Superstars Legacy is how much league racing played a key part in this game. How many individuals that I've met online as I've followed the developers closely and some of their top, you know, sim racers in the league racing. So I wonder if that too will be a major part in the go-kart racing game, if they have more leagues based in-game versus trying to organize it outside of the game per se. So a lot of interesting things to come. I imagine that, as per Original Fire games does, that we'll get consistent information drops monthly, but I think they're going to really extend it out, that I don't think we'll hear much about this new go-kart game for at least a year, like anything major as far as like a release date or, you know, that kind of stuff. So again, Original Fire games. Holy crap. I am in awe of what you guys were able to make with such a small development team, and the waves you've made in the sim racing and racing communities as a whole. I just be proud of the work that you guys have done. I think you guys really did capture lightning in a bottle and made possibly one of my favorite Simcade games ever, bar none. So, wow. I am ecstatic, excited to hear what you guys have next. But until then, I'm gonna keep playing this game. So, if you guys enjoyed this content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We got some more content coming up. Like I've said, we've got the Crew Motorfest coming up. Still very excited to be racing in that game, see what it's all about. But stay tuned for all of that. Of course, I've been Matt. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.